morning, Adventure Kids, and welcome back to another Sunday. It's so great to see you watching this. I'm so glad that you are joining us today. I miss you guys so much, but I'm so glad that we can connect in this way. We are learning all about a story that Jesus told. Now, in the Bible, stories that Jesus told were called parables. Can you say parable? Good job. So a parable, literally just a story that Jesus told that kind of had another meaning, but he always explained it to us. So we are going to learn about the parable of the sower. Now, not a needle and thread sower. We are going to be learning about the sower of seeds. Can you see? These actually aren't seeds, they're lentils because I didn't have any seeds, but most seeds look a little bit like this. If you can see, they're usually quite small and then they grow into something bigger. So one day somebody would have planted a seed like this, tiny little seed like this, and then it grows into a plant, which I think is pretty cool. So we are going to learn all about a story, this story that Jesus told. So if you listen really carefully, you're comfy, maybe got a cushion, get all comfy. Are you ready? Okay. So a farmer went out to his field. Now I've got a little picture to help us with our story. So if you can see that, so we've got a path, we've got some good soil, some weeds and some rocks, okay? So one day a man went out to his field, and as he went out he scattered some seed all around the path that he was walking on. Scattered it and it landed on the path, but some little birds, they came along, and because the seeds were just right there, can you see them? They were just on top. Some birds came along and they scooped them up, they ate them all up, and they didn't grow. Then he dropped some and they went on the rocks, and the rocks had a little bit soil around them, but only a little bit, so the plants sprouted up and then they died again because it wasn't good enough, the soil wasn't good for them. The rocks kept getting in their way when they were trying to get their roots out. Now, some other seeds landed on the weedy ground when it was all a bit rough, there was lots of thorns, and they just couldn't grow. The flowers couldn't get up, they couldn't grow high enough because there was so many weeds and other plants. It was all too full in the ground, they just couldn't get in any space to grow. Finally, some seeds landed on the good soil. They landed on fertilised soil, so the farmer had been looking after this ground. He'd been making sure it was nice and rummaged up, so all the worms were there, and there was lots of nutrients in it, like how we have to eat our vegetables and eat our fruit so that we've got nutrients in it. He was making sure that the ground, the soil, had got nutrients in it. And those seeds made really, really healthy plants. They grew and they grew and they grew. They were so tall and they were beautiful and they had fruit on them and they were amazing. Now, that is the story that Jesus told. Now, if you're anything like me or like the people in the Bible, they were all a little bit confused. They said, Jesus, that is a lovely story, but what's it got to do with anything? What's it got to do with being a Christian? Help us understand. So Jesus explained. He said, the farmer who was scattering his seeds everywhere is a little bit like a Christian or like Jesus, trying to share the good news with people. He wanted to tell them all about his plan to save us, to forgive us, to be our friend, to love us. Jesus wants us to know that. But sometimes that falls on rocky land or weedy land or the path, and people maybe get excited about being a Christian, but then they're not so sure and they fade away. Or maybe they don't really have a proper understanding in their heart, and so they fizzle away, they decide, maybe that's not for me. But what Jesus celebrates and what he wants us to be like is the good soil, that we are full and we are ready to learn and to know who Jesus is. Basically, it's like our heart represents what the soil is. So if we have good soil, not real soil, in our heart, if we're happy and we read our Bible and we talk to Jesus and we pray to him and we listen to him and we watch church on a Sunday, all of these things help us to be healthy in our hearts, help us to know Jesus better. And when we know Jesus better, then when we hear about him, when we listen to preaching or when we listen to teaching like this, then we learn about God, and in our hearts it's ready for it, it's happy to hear it. And then we're more likely to grow and to become the best possible versions of ourselves that we can be. And I think that's amazing. I love that I can learn and I can grow from Jesus and from the Bible because I've got good soil in me. It's a bit like in our hearts, sometimes there's some bad stuff, isn't there? Sometimes we don't want to forgive somebody when they've done something a bit mean to us, or maybe we're a little bit angry, and that can get in the way, can't it? It can get in the way of us being friends with Jesus. When we listen to God and when we listen to the teaching about the Bible, and when we read our Bibles and when we listen and we pray to God, that's when we've got good in our hearts, and when it's like the teaching is landing on good soil in us. I think that's amazing that we can grow, and we can grow in the knowledge of God. Well, that is amazing, isn't it? That we can have that good soil in us. So we are going to go through our 3 key points, as always. So get ready for point number 1. Jesus explains, he tells us, doesn't he, that we need to have deep roots in him. So when the soil's good, the plant can grow deep, deep, deep down and get all that good water and all that good nutrients, and then it grows big, 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 really tall, doesn't it? So that's like when we have that good nutrients in us, when we listen to God, when we read our Bible, when we've got all that goodness in us, then we're going to grow and we're going to become better, and that's amazing, isn't it? So point number 2 is that we should be like the farmer. We should be scattering our seeds everywhere. We should be saying, have you heard about Jesus? Have you done this? Do you know about God? We want to share the good news of God, don't we? We want to tell everybody about how amazing it is having Jesus as our very best friend. And number 3, we should be like the fertile soil. We should be like that good soil. As we've said, we want to grow, we want to know God, and we can do that by doing things that make our soil better. We can do things like read our Bible, watch church on a Sunday, which, I mean, you're already doing it. Well done us. And we can do all these amazing things, and that means that we're going to grow in relationship and in friendship with God. So I'm going to hand over to Harriet now, and she's going to talk through a super fun activity for you guys to do.
Good morning, Preschool. I hope you had a great Christmas and a really happy New Year. Thanks, Katie, for that story. And what we're going to do today for the activity is grow some cress seeds. So, what we're going to need is some water and some cress seeds and some cotton wool and a pot like this. I'm sure your grown-up has one in the cupboard. So what we're going to need is our tray and some cotton wool. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the cotton wool into the tray like this, look. Just put it in there, just like that. And you should have something that looks a little bit like that. Have you done that? Brilliant. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our water and we're going to gently pour it onto the cotton wool so it gets wet, but not too wet. And I'm sure you can get your grown-up to help you with this if you like. Amazing. Have you done that? Great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our seeds and our tray of wet cotton wool, and we're going to sprinkle the seeds in just like this. Are you ready? We're going to pinch them, and then we're going to go sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. And then again, sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. And then you should look into your pot and you'll see some seeds on your cotton wool. Great. So now what we need to do is find somewhere for it to grow. So there are 3 things that will help it. So these things are water, and we've wet our cotton wool before we put the seeds on. So we've done that, we can go tick. And the second thing is it needs sunlight. Do you think we get sunlight from the window ledge or in a cupboard? I think the window ledge. I'm sure you do too. And for the third thing is warmth. So somewhere where it's warm but not too warm. And once you've now placed your tray on the window ledge, you can start to watch it grow. And when it grows, it will start off really, really small and then grow a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. This is what it will look like when it has grown. Like that, look, can you see all the green and all the stalks there, look? That's what yours will look like. So you'll have to let us know how it looks, and I hope you have lots and lots of fun watching it grow. Bye for now.
Amazing, that is such a cool activity. I hope those of you who managed to get Cress seeds had a great time, and if not, don't worry, there's a few activities down below, or grown-ups I emailed you, so just head over there and there's a few colouring sheets or drawing activities. Maybe you want to draw something like this, maybe a little bit better. Mine just, I didn't have many colours, guys. I needed a brown, I didn't have one. It was very upsetting. But maybe you could do something like that so you can remember this story and you can remember all about having good soil in us. So I am going to pray and then we are going to head off for the day. Dear God, thank you that you teach us such amazing stories. Thank you that you show us how to live a good and fruitful life. Help us to listen to you, to read our Bibles, to pray, to watch our Sunday services, Lord, to know that we have good soil in us and to really allow ourselves to grow in friendship and relationship with you. Thank you that you love and you care for us. Amen. Have a wonderful week, Adventure Kids. I cannot wait to see you all soon, but for now I will see you next week here on YouTube. Have a wonderful week. Bye.